So people who enter Lebanon through an official border crossing are entitled to stay inside Lebanon for 12 months without any payment of fees. But once they surpass that 12-month period, there is an obligation to pay a $200 fee per person over the age of 15 in every family. So for a family of 5, that's a bill of $1,000 to be able to remain legally inside Lebanon.
And of course, many families can't stretch to that $1,000. What happens to them then if they can't afford to pay those fees?
So they remain very often in Lebanon with limited legal status, and what that does is it affects their freedom to move around the country. People are frightened to try to access perhaps registration with UNHCR, or perhaps healthcare services or education, because they may have to cross checkpoints and they fear that they may be arrested, detained, or possibly deported back to Syria.
Let's talk about the impact upon Lebanon now. When I was in Beirut last year, it's obvious to see the impact that these people are having, I mean, just on the capital, let alone the rest of the country, with people begging on street corners. What are the dangers for Lebanese society of having so many refugees in the country?
I think that the stabilisation plan has noted just the cost of having so many additional people in the country, the pressure that is put on the education system, on the health system, even on electricity and waste disposal is significant. And it's estimated that 170,000 additional Lebanese people have fallen below the poverty line as a result of the additional pressures that are brought to bear in the country. Obviously, if you have 1 million extra refugees, there are people seeking to earn an income to support their families, and that puts pressure on the wage earning sector and the poorest people in that sector, because the only permission that exists for Syrian refugees to work inside Lebanon is in the unskilled sector in construction or in agriculture.
All right, so the conflict in Syria shows no sign of abating. These people won't be going anywhere anytime soon. What's to be done? I mean, whose responsibility is it to help both the refugees and Lebanon?
I think that there's no doubt that the international community has to try to do more to support Lebanon. As you mentioned in the report, Lebanon has really stepped up and offered a huge amount of assistance to the Syrian refugees inside Lebanon, but they can't possibly continue to support 1/5 of their population through the services that exist at the moment. So the RRP6, the regional response plan that is seeking funding for the refugees and also for host communities, is only 14% funded, a third of the way through the year. So we're very concerned that there will not be sufficient funding in place to meet the basic needs of the refugees and the poorest Lebanese. And if that's the case, then that will put even more pressure on the state services inside Lebanon.